yes.
Speaking of, dude, I got to send you something from Lakeith. Yeah, I texted it to you.
Oh, you texted it to me. Text message?
Yeah, I had a screenshot. I didn't know if you would.
No one should. Oh, no. Oh, no. Did I? No. You know what? Fine. We're doing the intro. I was thinking about talking about this during the fucking podcast. I'm cutting the Florence Pugh frown segment. It's not that funny anyway. I'm going off on a rant. Why the fuck is everyone anti-vax, bro? Why is this happening? Why is everyone that I love anti-vax?
This is true. And you know what? Here's the thing that I was thinking when I saw this, right? Because there was someone also commented on the post and was like, on Lakeith's post, and was like, I keep seeing this statement, but I don't see anybody being forced to do it. Then he was like, I also haven't seen anybody being forced, but I'm just saying. And I'm like, are you just saying this statement? Like, sure. I don't know.
He's trying to get like, plausible deniability there. Oh, anyway, I don't have the post up, but it says it's a now deleted post from Lakeith that says no one should force anyone to put anything in their body, which is just vague enough to be like, oh, I wasn't talking about that.
Yeah.
But
and the thing is, I feel like he is someone who is probably vaccinated.
Most likely.
But he's just like, Lakeith, sometimes I feel like he just says things because he's like trying to be like provocative or like,
yeah,
I don't know. And I mean, sure, I guess he's saying like, sure, no one should be forced to put anything in their body. But I'm like, okay, sure, maybe I'm not saying we're grabbing people, holding them down, and forcing the vaccine in them, right?
Right.
Sure. If you don't want to get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. But we should be making it mandatory for places. We already have to get vaccines to go to college, right? So why is the COVID vaccine not just another vaccine that's needed for you to go to college? If we can say you need to have meningitis, you need to have whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So
like, what the fuck is meningitis anyway?
I don't even know, but you know what? We said, oh, I needed to get into college. I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Sure, don't get the vaccine, but also whenever we start saying, okay, you can't come into this place if you don't have the vaccine. You can't come into this place if you don't have the vaccine.
Yeah.
It's on you, buddy.
That's on you.
It's on you. But I mean, also you should still get the vaccine because another person out there doesn't have the vaccine.
Exactly.
Somebody else. So it's like, you know what?
It's rough out here.
Maybe we do got to start holding people down. I don't know. I don't know.
We don't condone that, by the way.
We don't condone that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly Needle in the Lens podcast. I'm your host, Kevin, here with my co-host,
Noah.
What's up? How are we doing tonight, Noah?
We're doing phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Well.
Big words there.
Is that it?
It's not a big word, but I guess it's like it's a word that
it's a word.
It's a word. In fact, I don't know how many points that would get you in Scrabble.
Probably a lot. It is a long
pretty
word.
long.
It's a fairly long word.
It's a difficult word, I think, is also the big thing. Not necessarily
also,
difficult, but like, you know.
You really out here playing Scrabble?
No, I'm not playing Scrabble. What do I look like?
I mean, hey, I don't know. You just brought it up. I don't know,
but that's like the word.
Though.
Oh, Words with Friends. I guess that would be the more modern reference for that.
My parents still play that.
Really?
Yeah.
They're still on it?
They're still on Words with Friends. There was an era where they stopped, and then recently, within like the past year or so, they like hopped back on it.
Do you think it's just resurging or something? Because I feel like I heard someone else is playing that too.
Really? I thought it was just because they were like,
I don't know. Maybe it's a Facebook
out of
thing.
touch.
Maybe it's a Facebook thing that's resurging.
So my parents also aren't really on Facebook like that. My mom did just get an Instagram though.
Oh wow, is she following the pod on there?
No.
Damn, just look of disgust on your face there.
It's like church and state, you know?
Valid, very valid.
Probably for the best.
But we're back. enough talk about Noah's family, right? We don't need to get into
Come
that
on.
all the time.
Why is it all? We always talk about my family. I feel like my family ends up coming up on this pod a lot. When are we going to talk about your family?
All right, what do you want to talk about my family, huh?
I don't even know. I'm just like, I feel like they should come up at some point.
I mean, they probably should at some point. What? Okay. Shit, I don't know. I guess I don't have
Come on.
interesting
All
stories.
their social security numbers right now.
Run it up. I don't have interesting stories. If I had an interesting story, I'd drop it. But, I don't have that.
All right.
Sorry, I don't have invigorating stories like you do about family, Noah.
Here it is, y'all. Week 23. Kevin still has no interesting familial stories.
More at 11.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll
There
see
you
how
go.
week 24, what week 24 brings.
You know what? Maybe I'll think about all of my stories and see. I'll see what happens.
We'll see.
We will see.
But like you said, enough about family.
Enough about family. This isn't Fast and Furious. All right. Low hanging fruit. Had to make the joke. We're back. Let's go ahead and talk about what we are planning on talking about today. Noah.
Yes. Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff. Yeah, we got a couple interesting things to talk about with you folks today. I am all over the place right now because I've got to control 8 different things. We're trying new shit here on the podcast. Right. I'm trying new shit where like I can talk right here and then Noah can talk when it's his turn.
Yes, which just means, you know what? Maybe I'll pick up more slack as a host. I'll just do a little more talking so you can focus on other stuff sometimes,
Honestly, you know what though? Going through in the edits, we're pretty well balanced. I feel like you actually talk a decent bit. That's why I was excited for these features because, I feel like you go into longer tangents more.
I do. I'm kind of long-winded sometimes.
It's okay. We understand.
Yeah. I know.
We accept you, Noah. We accept you for who you are.
Thank you. Feels good.
Feels good to be accepted?
It does.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, let's talk about what hasn't been necessarily accepted. New James Gunn's The Suicide Squad film is apparently a box office disappointment. According to...
What they're saying.
Yeah, streets are saying...
What the streets are saying.
Streets are saying it's a box office disappointment. I don't know.
Saying it's a flop.
Exactly.
What are the numbers here?
What are the numbers? Let's go ahead and look at this article. Shout out Screen Rant for this article. I guess just to think ahead on it though, I can kind of see why they would say that because I mean it debuted on HBO Max. I don't know what the numbers game is for the other films that debuted on HBO Max as well. Right.
I did see someone bring that up. As you kind of go through this, I'll see if I can find those numbers.
All right, we'll see. So let's see here. Suicide Squad was a box office disappointment, despite receiving warmly positive reviews from both critics and audiences. True. See, they're pointing out that the rise of the Delta variant in a marketplace that has already struggled to contend with COVID certainly hurt ticket sales. That honestly could make a lot of sense. There are other factors that have likely contributed to the film's lackluster performance, namely the availability to watch the feature on HBO Max, as well as confusing marketing created prior to create a poor commercial environment. I can read, I promise. I'm gonna even zoom in some more so I can read. I am interested to hear what their thoughts are on that last bit because I want to know. They're saying.
Right.
Notably, the relationship between the box office and critic reviews of The Suicide Squad is complete opposite of the film's predecessor, Suicide Squad. The DCU's first attempt at bringing the team of supervillains to the big screen was a huge financial success when it debuted August 2016. The film brought in record-breaking $13.7 million elite in its domestic opening weekend and eventually went on to break $7.46 million worldwide without releasing in China, funny enough. A lot of people will say that if you want your movie to do well, it's got to do good in China. So interesting. Pointing out its muddled plot, weak handling of certain characters. Yeah, no. Everyone pretty much hated it, but especially critics hated that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad in contract has enjoyed significantly better reception as a more coherent movie with well-defined characters and conflicts, as well as an overall more fully realized creative vision on the part of director James Gunn. Shout out James Gunn. In fact, the filmmaker ironically claimed the highest August box office earnings with his Marvel entry Guardians of the Galaxy before Air Suicide Squad took over that spot. Look at that. Funny enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and skim through here. Whoa, wait. Suicide Squad failed to receive financial success. Either of these films opening at a mere 2.65 or 26.5 million. Damn. I'm having a hard time reading this, but that's a small number.
You know, yeah, a little bit. Little bit.
That's a really small number.
Now, I can show you how it measures up against some of these other. I found a Variety article about this that kind of broke down some of these other box office numbers for other movies.
Right. So things like A Quiet Place 2 and the Fast Saga saw the largest openings in the span of the pandemic, and for a moment, it looked like audiences might be warming up to the idea of watching summer blockbusters on the big screen surrounded by other moviegoers. End quote.
Yes. Here's the thing. So, a Quiet Place 2, Fast and Furious 9, and Black Widow, right? Those are the top 3 highest grossing movies we've seen this year.
Right.
Black Widow coming in at 80.4 million. Fast 9 coming in at 70 million, and A Quiet Place 2 coming in at 57.1 million. Out of all of those, only one of them was released on a streaming service as well, which is Black Widow. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that was the highest performing. It's Marvel.
Yeah.
As far as stuff on HBO Max goes, the highest we've got is Godzilla vs. Kong, which brought in 48.1 million. Space Jam, which brought in 31.1 million. And then we've got Suicide Squad with 26.3 million. The Conjuring and Mortal Kombat are both sitting underneath those, right underneath Suicide Squad with 24.1 and 23.3.
Oh, okay, so it at least did better than The Conjuring.
Right. So, it's being called a flop though because it was expected. They're expecting 30 million. Right. That's what it said. They were expecting a 30 million opening, I believe. And they did not. And it's the lowest box office opening for a DCEU movie thus far.
Oh, wow.
And you know, lots of people are like, man, what? No. This makes complete sense to me. Like, it's not surprising to me at all.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. And I mean, one of the biggest being COVID, the new Delta strain that is going wild. Please wear your mask, everybody.
100%.
So I think that's one of the biggest things. People are going to be like, well, COVID's been going on. Da, 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 da. Okay, whatever. Sure, it's been going on. Now, you've also got the fact that this is a rated R movie.
Oh, yeah.
So this is not going to have the same kind of, like, on all this, like this entire list of movies here that I listed off. Like, I don't know, was The Conjuring rated R?
I don't know. I think it was 13. I think it was PG-13.
In that case, Suicide Squad is the only movie on here that's rated R.
Wait, Mortal Kombat wasn't rated R?
Oh, was it?
No, but I mean, if you're saying that it wasn't, then what? How? How on earth are you going to do a Mortal Kombat movie and make it PG-13?
Oh, Mortal Kombat is rated R.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So those two are the ones on here that are both rated R. So already when you have a rated R movie, like your box office numbers, generally speaking, especially for a superhero movie, because I feel like a big chunk of the superhero market is families getting together. Let's go see a superhero movie, right?
Right.
That's not happening with the movie like Suicide Squad. It's just not happening because it's rated R. So you've already got that. Now, you've also got to think about the fact that this movie is based off of, or people are going to associate it with the last Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Which, while it did perform well, I am going to attribute a lot of that to the amazing trailers and the great marketing that it had.
Oh yeah,
Because that movie,
definitely.
they made that movie look amazing. Those Suicide Squad trailers, phenomenal. Phenomenal. So of course everybody wants to go see it, but it was a horrible movie.
Yeah,
So now you've got people going, Suicide Squad, they're making another one of these?
yeah,
The first one was so bad. Why do I want to see this? So you're making, you're rebooting
soft reboot. Yeah,
you're soft rebooting a movie that people already weren't really a fan of.
right.
So with all those things in mind, I think it's not that surprising that this movie didn't perform that well. Not to mention, it doesn't have any like big name drawers. Like Idris and Margot are the two biggest people
Right.
in the movie. And Birds of Prey, I remember people were talking about that underperforming.
Oh yeah, no.
Which also I guess came out right. I think that came out in February 2020, so kind of like right before the pandemic.
Mhm.
So kind of that also didn't help it. But yeah, I mean you don't have any like huge names drawing people in. So I think these numbers not surprising to me.
Oh yeah, no,
honestly.
they definitely make sense. But I don't know. That's a small box office.
It is
debut.
small. It is small.
Let
But
me.
I think it's
yeah.
only gonna start. I feel like we're not gonna see. I think we're gonna, generally speaking, start seeing a lot of those numbers get smaller.
Oh yeah, no, it is starting to look that way, and I think like generally speaking, obviously because the Delta variant, like it discussed. But let's see how HBO Max affected it according to them.
Okay.
So the film was part of Warner Bros. Unprecedented move to make theatrical releases available to watch on HBO Max same day as they came out in theaters. Everyone knows how that works. For free, by the way. And this is awesome. Super pro-consumer. Super for it. But also from like a filmmaker standpoint, that's horrible for you because
Yeah.
in most cases you're not really going to make a lot of money off of that.
Right.
Because like I feel like HBO Max subscriptions haven't necessarily increased greatly enough, like on a film by film basis, to
no, they
warrant
actually
it.
haven't moved at all. Actually,
Oh wow!
the price, like when I had, because I had HBO, I had HBO for a while, so I had HBO before I had HBO Max. The price didn't change.
No. But I'm saying like the amount of people that
Like that have gone
join.
now to HBO Max.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah, no,
maybe
the price still hasn't changed from the start of HBO Max to now.
okay.
Yeah, it's always been $14.99
Mhm.
from the start, and they haven't changed it at all. I think actually one time I remember reading an article where they were saying they were considering making the price lower even, but I think that was back when they were having difficulty with getting people to subscribe.
Right,
HBO
right, and
Max,
that's
and
what
I don't
I'm
know.
saying. I feel like maybe initially when they announced that they're going to do these same time as theatrical releases, I think that a decent amount of people subscribe to the service, but I think that hasn't increased since then. Like I'm saying, like it's not like, oh, this movie is coming out and it's going to be on HBO Max. Let me subscribe to HBO Max now. You know?
Oh, you think they're not bringing in?
I don't think it's increased as much as it's worth necessarily to have these things on there.
Maybe.
Like I said, I think
also,
the initial group of people who already subscribed when they announced this, those are the people who have held out. And then I think maybe you've had some trickle in people when they're like, oh,
Right.
the Suicide Squad's going to be on here. Let me hop on.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's nearly enough to make a decent enough impact to warrant this being worth it for them as a company.
I can see that maybe.
Exactly. So let's see here. That means those who are too nervous to go to the movies can instead watch it from the safety of their homes at no additional cost, which is unlike Premiere Access, which you've talked a lot about. The dual release strategy, in fact, paints a larger, more complicated picture of the lowly box office number suggests, as 2.8 million households gave the film the second highest viewership numbers for the streaming service behind only Mortal Kombat. So it has done very well on HBO Max.
That's nice to hear at least.
Which, yeah, it is good to hear. And, be disappointed in me all you want. I didn't have money. and I went to go see The Green Knight in theater, so I did watch this at home on HBO Max. I know. But
It's rough. And you know what? I can't even say because if it was like you got to choose Green Knight or Suicide Squad in theaters, that's a tough one. It really
I mean,
is. I think
it's
they're
not though, because it was an easy choice because I can't watch Green Knight at home.
Oh, I guess that is true. Well, you could have. Well, A24 was doing like a thing, but you still would have had to buy.
Yeah.
So would have had to buy
exactly.
it. So I guess it makes more sense. I'm just thinking in terms of theatrical experiences.
Okay, yeah, no. Honestly, I would have loved to have seen the Suicide Squad at the theaters.
I think they're both, but Green Knight is also really, really great.
It is really. We're going to talk about that more later because obviously we've both seen it, and we have the end of our show. You guys know, you already know what the fuck's going on, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so second highest viewership on HBO Max. So that's definitely an interesting consideration. And the streaming numbers, of course, indicate that it isn't a failure, but it's by no means a success. And obviously the R rating barrier. And then, like you said, the connections to the first film, not really.
They put that on there?
Yeah, that says that did the Suicide Squad's marketing in 2016 connections let it down? Obviously, I feel like a lot of people weren't aware that this was a soft reboot with a different director.
Right.
So, hey. Did it lack movie selling points, they say?
Probably big names.
It didn't have Jared Leto's tattooed Joker. Didn't have Will Smith. Yeah, that's it. And saying that that is Harley Quinn and Idris Elba. Oh, John Cena was in it. That's a pretty big name.
That is true. But is that someone that gets people in seats? I don't know.
I don't know. How many people watched the Fred movie?
Different time. Probably not a lot of people still.
Very true.
And now, Fred movie. Oh my God.
Now, what I'm assuming is the last section. Yep. So, what the Suicide Squad's box office means for the DCEU. This is what we all want to know. We're all considering. Let's find out what Screen Rant believes, and then we'll kind of get into our thoughts. Post-COVID release of films on both digital and physical theaters complicates box office numbers in a way that the marketplace has previously never truly dealt with. In this way, the financial failure of the Suicide Squad might not be as apocalyptic as it looks. Fingers crossed. The film is still a critical hit, and still has a chance to bring in streaming viewership through tried and true word of mouth. It also still opened at the top spot of the box office, meaning that it's at least not another Snake Eyes or In the Heights, both high-budget movies that didn't even reach first place their opening weekend. Peacemaker, a spin-off television series, is still moving forward as an HBO Max exclusive. DC Films already confirmed that James Gunn will return for future DC movies. Get your bag, James Gunn. All these indicate that box office numbers are perhaps more indicative of the movie's marketplace suffering at large, and implies that the Suicide Squad isn't entirely a unique bust. Most of all, it's far from a doomsday call for the DCEU. Now, honestly, I feel like they wrapped that up pretty well there. Those all really make sense, because I definitely do think that, it's more of a commentary on the film industry at large right now, or the movie theater industry at large right now. Yeah. But also there is definitely a lot of issues that relating specifically to this movie that caused it to hurt a little bit more in comparison. Mm-hmm. So
definitely.
Yeah, I definitely can't agree with that. And I guess I hadn't put too much thought into how it connected to the first movie and why that would cause people to be less likely to check it out. But now thinking about that, it definitely does make a lot of sense on how it's not necessarily marketed as entirely as a soft reboot. I mean, I guess the biggest thing that makes it more soft reboot than an actual true sequel is that it's not called Suicide Squad 2. There's that.
There's that, I guess.
So, yeah, it's not called Suicide Squad 2. So, I mean, hey, it's obviously a sequel. I mean, to be fair, I did have to explain that to my dad. He was like, why the Suicide Squad? I was like, it's a soft reboot.
Yeah, see, I feel like, honestly, I don't know how else they were going to kind of get that across. Because I think maybe even my parents said that they were like, the Suicide Squad, didn't you see that before? And I was like, no, like it's like a reboot. It's like a new thing. It's got some new characters in it. And I think that's another thing. I mean, kind of what they were talking about with like the Joker and stuff like that is like James Gunn chose the most obscure characters for this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, he said himself like that was what he wanted to do. He was like, I literally Googled like worst supervillains, and like Polka Dot Man was on there, and I was like, oh, I gotta use that, you know. So it's like I don't think I don't know. I feel like DCEU, I as a whole, and Warner Brothers are probably still pretty proud of this movie, I would say. And I know they're usually all about money and everything, but we do have to think about, once again, the time that we're living in. Like the article said, this is probably not as much of a death sentence as we would think, simply because of the time that we're in.
Right.
And lots of movies are underperforming. It's getting great reviews. Some of the best of any DCU movie. And the people that are seeing it are really loving it. And everyone that has seen it seems really excited. Once more, I feel like we'll see what the Peacemaker series, how that performs, will also, I feel like, give us some good insight as to what we could see going forward, whether we'll see any more going forward. But also the fact that James Gunn is still coming on for multiple projects makes me think like they're still really proud of this movie and have a lot of trust in James Gunn to deliver more great projects. So,
oh yeah, definitely. I think the critical acclaim of it is more valuable than the box office money to them, honestly.
in this case, at least.
Yeah, in this case, most definitely,
Since we're
because
in COVID. And any other time?
yeah, but I think the reason why it's more worthwhile to them is because right now the DCU is still kind of working on their whole rebranding joint. Like
Yep.
they need to, I mean, they've been kind of not necessarily the laughing stock, but like kind of the laughing stock, especially in comparison
Right.
to the MCU, which is this big, bold, grand thing that everyone loves and has
Right.
one of the top grossing movies of all time, several of the top grossing movies of all time, even. So
Mhm.
when you put those into consideration, the fact that people and critics are enjoying the Suicide Squad, it shows that, hey, they're taking a turn in the right direction. They're making good movies. I personally haven't seen Birds of Prey. I've been meaning to, after the fact. I know. I didn't bother with it. Again, fatigue. But yeah, no, and after watching this one, I've been meaning to go back and watch that on HBO Max. No, so because I have heard
good.
actually very, very fantastic things about it. So I'm definitely curious.
It's definitely it's definitely top 3 in the DCU.
Oh wow,
For sure. Top 2 for me personally.
top 2.
Top 2.
Oh, and now I gotta know what's your top 3 then.
Number 3, I'm probably giving to Shazam, I think.
Oh, okay, another one I haven't seen, but I've been meaning to. I know.
I haven't seen the best ones.
I know. I just, with me and fucking the DC, I'm just like, I'm not there.
No, that is probably either that or number 3 is probably that or Man of Steel, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Birds of Prey is number 2, and Suicide Squad is my number 1.
Wow.
Easy. Really easy, actually.
No, I believe it. Definitely based off of this. And again, like I said, this is making me want to check out more stuff. But based off of this, yeah, no, they're definitely starting to take more of a turn in the right direction. And I like to see that. I want to see more of that. And I mean, I guess just giving our thoughts, I really, really enjoyed this movie. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely
3.5 stars.
Listen.
Speak on it.
Listen. All right, I'll speak on it. My issue was some of the pacing. That's it. That was my only issue.
And what parts were you?
I can't even necessarily recall, but some of the pacing, it felt like we went high speed and then slow. It was a bit of a jolt back and forth for me. It's been a little bit since I saw it, so I can't necessarily recall exactly where. But I mean, definitely looking back more fondly on it now, and will probably rewatch it. And honestly, I think it is going to go higher for me. I'm still, and for me, I'm still working out how I rate movies versus how I rate music, because obviously, like, Letterboxd and Music Board use the same score on 5 stars, and like, I don't know, it's tough for me because like I feel like a movie that I really enjoy would be an 8 normally on like a 10 scale. But an album that I enjoy like really is a 7, but not necessarily an 8 unless like I absolutely loved it. Like, I think it's fantastic, because obviously we're getting into those higher scores. And again, I'm still, because this year I've been a little more involved with trying to do more movie rating as opposed to just music. Obviously doing this podcast with you, focusing a lot more on that as well, incorporating that into kind of my routine. And I mean, just trying to, in general, watch more movies as well. So it's still tough. I am probably going to end up going back to it, and I'll probably end up bumping it up a bit too. So, I mean, we'll see.
Gotcha.
We'll see what happens.
I definitely also want to watch it again before it leaves HBO Max.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I really loved it. Honestly, it really could be the recency bias talking, but I do think this is like one of my favorite superhero movies.
Oh no,
like,
definitely.
ever.
It's so crazy because like it's weird because I didn't love it as much after just watching it, but thinking back on it, like I said, I'm remembering it more fondly. So I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. So maybe I do need to go back, because I've had that situation before plenty of times with like even different stuff, like just albums that I didn't necessarily love, but I still enjoyed. And then going back, it's like, oh, this is actually really good. Like, I mean, even just recently, like I've been going back to Whole Lotta Red a lot. And we didn't talk about this last week, I don't think. But I mean,
I don't think we did.
No, but, and this was before we did the podcast, but I mean, I first listened to it and I didn't really love it that much. I liked some of the, I guess, like kind of concept, some of the things that he was going for on it, but I just didn't love it. It didn't like hit for me. But just going back now, I'm like, okay, I see it and I enjoy it a lot more. I don't know. It's weird. It's been really weird. It's been hitting different lately, but
I think also there are like things with certain albums, because I know you were saying like, oh, I've been listening to it a lot in the gym. I think a lot of times with certain albums, like where like the circumstances under which you listen to it can definitely shape the way you enjoy an album.
Right.
Like, there are certain albums I'm like, I didn't enjoy this that much when I was sitting on my bed listening to it. But man, when I'm in the car driving, this sounds really nice. Or man, when I'm riding my bike, this sounds really nice. Or like when I'm doing whatever, So I think like there's like definitely like certain places where an album can hit you more, just even certain circumstances that can change the way an album hits you. So, yeah. That being said, I was a Whole Lotta Red fan from the start.
Yeah, he was right. And I gave him the win. Folks. He deserved that win because he was right all along. I did. So
also, I think there are a decent amount of albums. You gotta listen to it high. You really do. That'll change your perspective. That'll change your perspective on the album. Like the Isaiah Rashad.
Ooh, look at that segue though. Let's talk about it.
There we go. I didn't even do that on purpose.
I know you didn't, but honestly, I think our thoughts on Suicide Squad are wrapped up. And by talking about this, now I'm wasting time on this perfect segue, but we're here. Let's talk about the Isaiah Rashad album that came out. Long awaited. Long awaited. Like what, 6 years? 5 years since Sun's Tirade came out. And
that's a very long time.
Exactly. 5 years is a very, very mighty long time for an album, where usually especially even on TDE, the cycle was usually 2 years.
The cycle does not exist anymore.
Yeah, the cycle is in hell. There is no cycle, no bicycles.
I was just watching a video from Schoolboy Q when he was on Twitch, and he was like, TDE, we run on our own schedule. Like, y'all are on the internet saying all this type of stuff. He was like, we don't care.
We do not
don't care. And I was like, noted. I mean, it was already clear, but thank you for telling us that. You don't care at all. Good to know.
Exactly.
But Isaiah Rashad.
Yes, back to Isaiah Rashad. He released his long-awaited album, The House is Burning, and, it was honestly, very well accepted from everything that I saw. Everyone on Twitter was loving it. I mean, it's been getting, from what I could tell, pretty decent reviews. I know Sean C. really enjoyed it.
I've been seeing like people really loving it, and then people saying they like it and having some kind of
reservations.
Reservations, which are kind of the same. The reservations people are having are the same reasons why people love it. So it's just like really hitting people, because this is what we were talking about. You're like, man, it's like really low key, and for some people that's like really working for them, and for other people they're like, man, it's really low key, I can't get into it. So
yeah, a lot of the criticism I've seen is that like, oh, it's kind of boring, it sounds like he's sleeping and shit like that.
Yeah.
But definitely putting yourself in the right area and space, like you were saying, being under the influence of things we're not going to talk about, being in a certain state. That's not even that, but
well, I'm a good child.
Yeah. Okay. But being under the influence of things, it might enhance this album for you, and I get that. I can definitely see that. So, 100%. And obviously, yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, but generally speaking, from what I've seen online, people have been enjoying it. One person, however, who we've talked about actually quite a decent bit on this podcast, because he's, love him or hate him, he's a big, important name in the online music space. Let's talk about Anthony Fantano's review on The House is Burning. All right. Now,
yes.
And the only reason we want to talk about this just because he dropped a fucking review on it. We're not that much of fucking Fantano dick riders. All right. This blew up a little bit more than we had originally suspected. I thought it was just going to be the review, one and done. But seeing a lot of stuff, hey, it's definitely much more important online. Also, Bill Cosby responds to rumors. Apparently, thanks, Hot New Hip Hop, for throwing that on this article so all of my viewers could see. Shouts out.
God.
He rates The House is Burning a 5 out of 10, which, halfway, it's not necessarily terrible, but definitely not fantastic, and definitely not what a lot of people probably personally would have given this album.
Right.
But let's go ahead and get in this article. Obviously, he put an end to his hiatus, like we said. And then listeners have been quick to highlight their favorite tracks, and the common consensus constructed an album that succeeds in setting itself apart from the rest of contemporary releases this year. And yeah, I can definitely agree with that. It's definitely in its own lane, and like I said, definitely for a certain mind state to be in. We'll just leave it at that. Also, he looks like he's definitely in that mind state here.
I hear, yeah, probably is.
Yeah. However, it turns out that at least one prominent figure within the music industry is not a fan of the project. Polarizing online music reviewer Fantano recently shared in his review 5 out of 10. And then let's read this quote. Honestly, I can't name an LP in 2021 I've been less excited to hear based on the singles. Which, not a terrible take if we're talking about Lay With Ya. But the other two singles?
Headshots?
Banger.
He put Headshots in, when that single came out, he put Headshots in his worst tracks of the week.
What?
And that's when I knew.
No.
That's when I knew. I was like, no. You're tripping.
And what was the other one? I didn't even hear it until the album dropped, but it's so good. What was the other single?
What you said?
Yeah, I didn't hear it until the album dropped. I just
And you know what's
it.
wild?
It's so good.
When I heard that as a single, because it dropped the same day that Donda was supposed to drop, the original Donda.
The original Donda drop, right?
Yeah, I listened to that and I was like, man, this is not that good. I was like, this is really not that good. Man, I have done a complete 180 on that song. That song is so good.
It's so fantastic.
It just like,
and even like, even Lay, which has grown on me a little bit, especially in the context of the album.
it definitely has. Yeah.
Yeah,
too.
you know, it's one of those. And like the beat's
They've all
pretty
grown
cool
on me,
too.
honestly.
Exactly. So, I mean, and even though like, you know, I'm even going to say I didn't love this album as much as you did, but I've really enjoyed it. I've really gotten back to it a lot. It's very, very enjoyable to me. I like it. But Fantano apparently didn't like it that much. 5 out of 10. Let's talk about Isaiah Rashad eventually caught wind of his review and, as expected, didn't take it too kindly. Of course. He obviously took it very personal, which, you know, rightfully so. He has probably worked a long time on that. And let's go ahead and read. He deleted these tweets, but yeah, let's talk about it. So tweeted out and said, it's not experimental enough to excite him, basic enough to make him laugh, and too black for him to identify. My public persona isn't something to deconstruct, so he doesn't have much to review. I'm guessing it's just reviews, if anything. So I'm going to go through kind of all these screenshots, and then we'll kind of digest and look at them after the fact, or digest and talk about them after the fact. He's not employed by a magazine. I mean, he's responding to someone. I couldn't really see the top of that screenshot. He literally chooses to make money by getting views off hate bombing people with poor journalism too. And then following his tweet, he responded, Fantano said, you guys can lash out, psychoanalyze, or whatever out of disagreement with me comes with the territory. But no, I'm not genuinely out to make anyone feel bad about something they've made or enjoyed. I really don't think I'm worth all the controversy, but have it your way. I'm not upset about anything, just responding to a thing somebody said and clarifying. Punch then responds to him, how do you prepare to listen to and critique black music? What's your routine? Just curious because the black experience through music is pretty nuanced. Just wondering about how you go about it. And then he responds, I've addressed these kinds of comments numerous times, but I'm tired of the convo being asymmetrical. Genuinely curious, let's go live tonight and talk about it. Did they talk about it?
No, Punch said, nah, I'm good. Maybe sometime we can do we're in person, we can do a live or something.
Okay.
But Punch didn't want to do it.
I'm following, so you can DM me. I'll send a Zoom link. We can agree on a time. And maybe, I'm not really pressed to go live, but a conversation live in person at some point might be interesting. Yeah. So, definitely a lot to digest there. Obviously, the way that Punch came at it, I actually really like how he came out about it and how he approached him. I think it's definitely an interesting question that needs to be addressed. And obviously, as a white person, that's definitely something that I struggle with from time to time. I know that, obviously, at the end of the day, I'm a guest in the house of hip hop. Obviously, it's been said by a lot of people before, but I know that and I recognize that. I know that this music isn't made for me, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, my music's made for everyone. Like, don't lie. Don't say that shit. A lot of that shit is just lies. I mean, like, music that's informed by black experience is not made to be, I'm not going to say it's not made to be experienced by, but it's not made to have the same impact on non-black people as it does on black people. Therefore, I know that I'm not going to be feeling or understanding the same things that someone like you would understand, obviously. Yeah. So, you know, when I look at something, I just try to look at how much I enjoy it and try to objectively as possible analyze it and whatnot. But I'm not gonna sit over here and be like, oh, I know everything. I'm the end all be all. I know as a white person who listens to hip hop music, I know what's best for everyone and what everyone needs to know. That's gonna get clipped out of context. But, you know, I recognize that. And I know that at the end of the day, I'm a guest and I experience things from the outside looking in as opposed to actually experiencing things on the inside. So.
Right. And I think, like, in regards to how Punch said it, like, these are definitely valid questions. And, you know, the thing is, first off, Isaiah Rashad, because people were like, there were a lot of people that were saying, like, oh, there were two different camps here, right? There are the people that were like, with Isaiah, they were like, yeah, like, Fantano's the worst, da 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 da. And there's other people that were like, Isaiah, what are you talking about? Like, it's not black enough, like, all sort of stuff. Now, here's the thing. Fantano put his opinion on the album out there, which he has every right to do. When he put his opinion out there, he's also inviting other people to put their opinion about his review out there.
Right.
Isaiah worked really hard on this album. It's been 5 years. He went through a lot of stuff. He worked on, like, this was like, I'm sure, his baby, as is any album by any artist. So when you see someone trashing your album, no matter who it is, it's not going to make you feel good, especially when it's someone that has a big platform. So I completely understand Isaiah being upset and feeling the way he does, especially when you're seeing a white guy come on here and tell you that your album isn't good. You're like, who are you to tell me that my music isn't good? You're just a white guy telling me that I'm not making good rap music. Like, what? That being said, the points Isaiah was making in regards to why he didn't like the album is probably where I disagree with Isaiah a little bit. Only because if you have kind of followed Fantano for a little bit and understand kind of the way he's felt about Isaiah, he's kind of always, like, Isaiah's music has never really clicked with him, which is something that, like,
Right.
I think Isaiah has a very, very specific vibe to his music that I think is like it's like tuned up even more on this album.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I just think that it's a sound that's not necessarily going to connect with everybody. It's extremely chill.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a big fan of the Sun's Tirade, which is like, people are like, oh my gosh, like, it's an amazing album. It's an amazing album.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It's an amazing album. Yeah, exactly. But he wasn't a fan of that. He wasn't a fan of the singles. So honestly, I'm not sure why anyone expected him to be a fan of this one.
Yeah, no.
And I don't personally think that Fantano has any, bias against black people or black music. Like, I just
hopefully
don't.
not.
Also, yeah, no. And Fantano brought up a good point actually when he was talking about this, because he's had like a couple of follow-up tweets just kind of addressing different things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But, he was talking about how you don't have to, if music required you to relate to the culture that it was coming from in order to enjoy the music, then there would be a lot of music out there that people just couldn't enjoy because they didn't come from that culture. So it's like, anybody can enjoy hip hop, right? Even if you're not black. Now, are you going to relate to it on the same level and have as deep of a like relationship with that album as someone else that's black might? No. But you definitely don't need, like, I don't need to be like Latinx to enjoy a Latin album,
Right.
So I definitely don't think that there's any like personal bias there. I think Isaiah is just like rightfully upset that he didn't like his album. And yeah, I think that's perfectly within Isaiah's right to not like the album. And it's, or not like the review, and it's perfectly within Fantano's right to not like the album.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I think in general, I don't think anybody was like, this was as, people are making it seem like, oh my God, they're going at it. They're really going at it. Like, honestly, it was a pretty level-headed discussion.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's pretty soft beef, honestly.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot to it.
I think what made it worse was that there were like fans, like Isaiah and like TDE fans that like kind of flooded Fantano's mentions and kind of were just like coming at him and going at him, which is like, come on, you don't got to do that. Also, I know Fantano's tweeted recently or talked about recently, I think on Instagram in a story or something. He was like, he's just been going through a lot, just been like really depressed and like all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, come on, like anybody, like Fantano is entitled to go on there, and he, at the end of the day, he's just a white guy with a camera and a mic.
Yeah,
like
hi,
he can go. Exactly. Yeah, like. That's all it is. He's allowed to have an opinion on an album.
Right.
You don't have to listen to him. No one's telling you to take his opinion or let you persuade him. Like, Fantano is not responsible for having the following that he has.
Yeah.
You know,
It just,
Like, that is-
like, obviously he put in work to get there, but like,
right? but
moreover,
pe-
it's,
people choose to watch him.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, that's just kind of like, doesn't make him. The only thing that's different is that he has a following. You know, there are tons of other people on YouTube. There are probably other white people that didn't like the album either.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think Fantano definitely has. Oh, people are also like, you know, he's just he's so mean. He's just so mean. And like, he's honestly gotten a lot nicer.
Yeah,
in
no
recent years.
kidding. Like, I haven't really noticed that many scathing reviews. Like, I feel like in 2019, we probably got the most not goods that we have seen.
Yeah.
2018, 2019, I feel like those past couple years, like, we got a lot more scathing reviews from him than
Yeah.
we ever have
And,
before.
like-
And he's been a lot more chill about like being fair, I guess I would say, as fair as he can be giving his opinion. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like you said, he's just a white dude with a camera and a mic. That's his opinions and he's entitled to them. He's also entitled to get scrutiny from his audience and other people online. And I think, yeah, obviously, like, I guess I hadn't thought about it before. He's never been a huge Isaiah Rashad fan. So to think that this is going to be the one that was going to change him. I mean, if you're going to him for validation about views on an Isaiah Rashad album or from someone who's not typically an Isaiah Rashad fan, why, you know? Because like if you want someone that's going to inform your biases, there's plenty of reviewers out there who love Isaiah Rashad who ate this fucking album up and they loved it.
Exactly.
Therefore, you know,
Exactly.
it's kind of that whole thing. And to Isaiah's point, I think some of it works and some of it doesn't. I think for one thing, the hate bombing thing, that's just so dumb. I think that's just not true at all. I genuinely don't think Fantano needs to hate bomb anyone. Like, he doesn't need to do. He's by and large the biggest music reviewer on the internet, and to hate bomb a popular artist, you know, it's not important. I mean, this is the same fucking guy we were talking about a couple weeks ago that he reviewed an album so high, and it was an album that, trust me, not a lot of people knew about, because when looking at the monthly listeners, it was sub 100,000 before he reviewed it.
Yep.
So many people hadn't heard of it, and he went trending just because of his rating. He doesn't, I mean, Isaiah, he doesn't need to hate bomb you to get views, my guy. Like, that's not.
He doesn't. He was going to give views whether he rated the album a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, it was
exactly. It was.
He's not.
Yeah, it was gonna be. He was gonna get views for it regardless because people want to know what he thinks about the Isaiah Rashad album. The experimental thing, obviously, like, yeah, there's that whole meme about how like Fantano only likes experimental shit and whatever, which I think lately is pretty disingenuous because obviously, like, judging based on his reviews, he's liked a few basic things, you know.
Yeah. I mean, like, he really liked the last like Billie Eilish album. Come on, like,
exactly.
Like the Little Pump, like everyone made that a whole meme about how he really liked the Little Pump album.
Yeah, no, bro, that was super experimental, my guy. What do you mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of that kind of those comments come from people that kind of pop in for certain reviews here and there. And usually, I mean, his bad reviews get the most.
Oh yeah, of course.
Get like kind of traction.
The negative attention economy.
Or if it's really great, like the spelling review.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those kind of people kind of just pop in for stuff here and there. They see a bad review. They're like, oh my gosh, Fantano always gives bad review. I can't believe that. I mean, he gave My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a 6, like gave Because the Internet a 4, like all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, there's plenty of albums in between that, you know, he's really enjoyed. But yeah, I don't really, I think like the thing is, if y'all are really upset about Fantano being like able to go on there and really just go spout stuff, like, you don't have to watch him. There are so, like you said, there were so many other people on the internet that enjoyed that album. I've been saying for so long, I always say on the podcast, Dead in Hip Hop, They are amazing.
Mhm.
If you want like to hear actual black opinions on hip hop, go watch Dead in Hip Hop because
Right.
they do this. They like review like way more like underground stuff than Fantano does. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why you're going to a white person for an opinion on hip hop in the first place. Like if it's really affecting you this much, you know?
Yeah. Like if you're that pressed about it, like, come on.
Come on.
There's an internet full of content creators that you can watch.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason Fantano has like over 1 million subscribers, and Dead in Hip Hop doesn't even have like 500,000 probably.
It's because people are always pressed on Fantano rather than just seeking out people who they tend to agree with more. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. Honestly, I feel like I tend to disagree with Fantano more than I agree with him, judging based on his reviews. And like personally, for me, my tastes and my views have always aligned more with like Sean C. That's why I always bring him up. That's why usually if he ever recommends something, I feel like that's a good gauge for something for me to check out. I still obviously check out Fantano because I mean, for fuck's sake, Sean C barely puts out content. My guy, come back to the internet, man. That's all I have to say. I mean, he's been back since the Isaiah Rashad review and shit like that. But I mean, just to that, there's again, like I said, an internet full of content creators who review music. You can find someone who you tend to agree with more, who you tend to have similar tastes with, and, align yourselves with that person rather than focusing so much on what Fantano said. Now, obviously, yeah, Fantano has a lot of social importance in the internet landscape. That's why everyone's talking about him, and that's why when his opinions do come out, people get pressed about it. But, I mean, I guess it's more of a chicken egg situation is, are we getting pressed about it, and is that causing him to be more relevant, or is it because he's already relevant? Kind of that whole situation.
And it's just like, once again, Fantano only has the platform that he has because people watch him, because we give him the platform. That's how YouTube works.
Exactly.
If you didn't want to give someone a platform, you don't give them views. You don't subscribe to them. He has a platform that he has because of the fans. So it's like people being upset where he's at. He's only there because people have supported him, Yeah. So it's like you created this monster, if he is a monster to you,
Right.
And I don't think he is. I think he's, once again, just another white guy out there giving his opinion. I think generally speaking, I watch his reviews because I think he does a generally good job of articulating why he doesn't like an album. And I mean, I'm obviously not only watching Fantano's reviews, I watch tons of people's reviews on the internet, but I like seeing other opinions. And I think Fantano is able to like word himself very well, generally speaking. And, it's just another perspective. So yeah, also he's like, if you look at him as a curator, there's a lot of times he'll like tons of albums I would have never heard of had he not reviewed them or, put them in like a year-end list or something.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
exactly. And like that, we talked about that during the spelling episode too. Like that.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly the best way we should look at him, as that in that position, as opposed to, being a guy. I don't know. Then being like the end all be all of what is good music.
Yeah.
Because
I think it speaks a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say at the end of the day, I mean, music taste always has and always will be subjective.
Like 100%. It says a lot about, I think, how people consume music reviews.
Yeah.
Like it seems like people are consuming them more to be validated rather than to hear a different perspective on an album.
Oh no, that's exactly why people do it.
Yeah.
That's 100% why people do it. There's no other reason why people would get this pressed about a single guy's opinion than if it wasn't that they want every music review to validate their opinions on an album.
Right.
That's it.
Which is just not, that's not realistic.
Definitely not a vibe.
Form your own opinion. Like I was saying, Noah is the biggest supporter of forming your own opinion on something. Form your own opinion.
Needle in the Lens is the biggest supporter of
Needle
forming
in
your
the
own opinion.
lens.
Unless you're copying our
Endorses-
opinions, in which case, go for it.
Yeah.
Take these opinions as your own. Make sure you use those citations.
We do have pretty good opinions.
We've got
I do.
pretty good
Kevin
takes.
does occasionally.
Oh, okay, no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm the one with the good takes here.
Oh,
no.
is that what's happening?
No, we go back and forth. You know that. You know that.
We do go back and forth. We go back and forth.
We go back
There's
and
a
forth.
good balance here.
Exactly. It's like what's that? The balance thing. It's
Exactly.
the symbol of the legal system. I guess it's just the scale, right? Or whatever.
The balance.
Balance.
Is it not called the balance?
Is it not? I don't know.
Or scale. I mean, it's a
Balance scale, maybe.
Whatever. We
fuck
should
them.
know that, but
We should, but I mean, hey, what is our education system teaching us, right? Haha, more political commentary
Blame it on
for your
them.
face. Let's go. But
exactly.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, find a creator that you like, watch their videos. You can use that to validate your opinions. But I mean, also at the end of the day, like Noah was saying, like, get other opinions. I think just like with news, you should, at least as much as possible, try to get them from, I'm going to say this, multiple good sources. Good sources, all right? Your grandma's Facebook group is not a good source, all right?
We
Fucking
love that
bright-
Rashad album. Oh my god!
I was talking about fucking.
Smino verse? It went so.
I'm talking about like fucking election
I'm
fraud and
just-
COVID denial shit. But okay, yeah, no,
I'm just talking
Maybe-
about opinions.
bro. Maybe QAnon really rocking with Isaiah Rashad. No, they're probably not. Let's be honest.
No, they're probably not.
They're probably not. We bumping the house is burning as we pass by the QAnon rally. Let's do it. I'm down.
Hey,
I'm fucking
yeah,
coming.
maybe they're bumping it there. They're bumping it at the nursing home.
No, I'm saying we gotta
Like-
bump it. We gotta like drive past and just blast that shit.
You walk in, you just drive by, and you hear Lay With You playing. Like, oh man, they're having a good time in there.
Hey, true. But yeah, I mean, you should find multiple sources of information and form your own opinion around that. But at the end of the day, you could also just listen to the fucking music and form your own opinion on that. But I mean, yeah, definitely, like you said, Fantano has a good way of articulating the specificity of why he does or doesn't like something. And I
Right.
mean, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, this is just copying and you're not forming your own opinion. But sometimes you can't necessarily put a word to what you're thinking. And then sometimes
Right.
you hear it. Whether it's from
100%.
Fantano, whether it's from Dead End Hip Hop, whether it's from what Dante does reviews, right? I don't know if he just does react shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, whether it's from whomever, getting the information and finding out how to express what it is that you're feeling, which is why I'm always a proponent. Find the creator that you feel like you align with the most, because most of the time you can trust their opinions because then it's like they're a friend, you know?
Exactly. And you know what? I'll say I think Fantano has also does that too. Fantano's been pretty supportive of other, like, I know back in the day he used to do more joint reviews.
Oh, yeah,
so I
no,
know there's
definitely.
like he has joint reviews with Sansi, joint reviews with Dead End Hip Hop. I think they actually did one last year
Oh,
for an
yeah.
album. I can't remember what it was for. Maybe Alfred? No. Was it Alfredo? There was a
It
so
might
there
have been.
was-
That sounds familiar. Let's go ahead and fact check that. Fantano, Dead End Hip Hop. Let's see. You said last year there's the Dead End Hip Hop video. Anthony Fantano gave My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a 6 from 2019.
Oh, they did do that one, yeah.
That was from 2019 though. Let's go ahead and search past
remember.
year. I
feel
guess
like they did something together recently. Maybe I
maybe.
can't remember. But yeah, no. I think he's kind of actually like Dead End Hip Hop talks about, that was kind of one of the, like, Fantano was kind of one of the first ways that they kind of popped up onto the scene.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I feel like he's done a pretty good job of putting people on, especially more so in his early days. Like definitely, I'd say 3 to 4 years ago, I saw a lot more of that than
Yeah.
now. But I definitely
yeah,
don't think he's not doing it. for sure.
No, 100%. Like there are definitely people out there that like, I think like Brockhampton probably would have found some success, but I think a lot of their success
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
like came after Fantano gave like the first Saturation to 9. Like I think that did a lot for them.
I don't think White Boys would have known Death Grips if it wasn't for Fantano.
that Death Grips too. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, I like
Just realistically speaking.
it just happened, you know? And I think, hey, he's out there. I think maybe, you know, before when he was a little more harsh, I could see why I'd maybe have a little more of an issue with him. But I think he's talked about like how he, you know, he used to be more harsh on albums and he kind of scaled back from that because he realized that like, okay, this is art that people are genuinely taking a long time to make and is really honest and
most
you
of
know
the time,
true
by
to
the way.
them most of the time, yeah. But yeah, that like it was really important to them, and so he kind of like scaled back and stopped going so hard on a lot of people. And I think his like more recent reviews show that. And like the Isaiah review, I don't think it was distasteful or like disrespectful. I think he was just honest. People were like, he said he thought it was boring, and I'm like, oh, okay, like if he thought it
That's
was
what he
boring, he
thought.
thought it was boring. Like you can't be mad at somebody else's not liking an album. You just can't. Unless you're Isaiah Rashad, then you're completely within every right
Yeah.
to be upset that he, you know, put out a bad review about your album.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
But-
He definitely has a right to be upset about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's one guy's opinion over another. And I think the issue is with how big he is, it's a lot of people look to him as the objective good, which is the main issue. Do not look at him as the end all be all of what's good in music. Like I've said many times.
Yes.
Just don't. Just don't.
Just don't. We've said it. What, this is maybe the third time we're coming on here to say it. We're not going to say it again.
We probably will say it again.
We probably will end up saying it again. But y'all
Look,
should
just
know.
so y'all fuckers don't forget, all right?
Come on. Form your own opinion. And that's
Exactly.
all Neil and the Lens has to say about that.
Exactly. That's all Needle and the Lens has to say about everything. Did you want to touch on anything else? I feel like that's everything we got today. We got a little bit of a shorty episode today.
Yeah, I guess that's really it. Did you want to talk about What If or?
Oh shit! Yeah, What If came out today. I guess I don't have too much to say about it. I was definitely interested in it. I watched it through. It was funny. I went over to my more family talk. You asked for it, all right? I went over to my sister's house this morning because she wanted me to watch her kids while she had to run some errands and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to wake up at 7 for that, so I went and I knocked the fuck out. I'm like, I'm just gonna sleep here. If you're dying, call me. That's it. But no, and then I woke up and then she came back and we just all watched What If, and I was like, okay, cool. This was fun.
Nice.
Rock on. But
And
yeah,
you, what'd you think about it?
I'll say it wasn't a super strong starter. Definitely, I'm intrigued to see what more of the series has come out with. Nice to always see Haley Atwell again. Wish we could have
For sure.
saw her. We missed out on buff Haley Atwell IRL. A little disappointing.
Did.
That's all I'm
That
gonna
could've
say.
been good.
But hey, you know,
Yeah.
no, but it was there was a bit of preachy moments. I'll give it that much.
Mm.
But I
Mhm.
mean, like, it was still cool. The parallels to the Captain America: The First Avenger were cool.
Yeah.
Obviously. Although I guess the biggest thing that I am worried about is that a lot of these stories are just going to follow very heavily to the stories they're what-ifing, but just changing
Yeah.
the one thing, which
Mm-hmm.
is not what's supposed to, like, that's not what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be like, I feel like, isn't this supposed to be Butterfly Effect, the Marvel show, where one
Right.
small thing spirals completely out of control rather than changing a couple small qualities here and there. Because at the end of the day, we hit a lot of the same beats. Super Soldier isn't allowed to fight, eventually fights, stops Hydra, gets trapped, and can't dance with the person they love.
And then comes back.
And then comes back years later. So although you change some of the circumstances, the beats are all the same.
Right.
So that's definitely something I'm a little worried about going forward in this series. But I think a lot of the other ones definitely lend themselves a lot more to being substantially different. So I'm definitely excited to see those.
I agree, like, with everything you said. I was, think it's a little, it's a weaker start, definitely. And yeah, really, literally everything you said. I was just like, I mean, this is cool, but also this is literally just the first Avenger. You just swapped Peggy for Steve and then gave Steve, like the first Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was cool that he was kind of like the first Iron Man. But
that was actually interesting.
That probably was the biggest change. That was the most interesting from that. Yeah, like that stepped away from the storyline. And also, Bucky doesn't get. Oh, I guess also that Bucky doesn't die.
Oh, he doesn't die. I guess that kind of happened to Steve, but then he was like not actually dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, all I'm gonna say, if Skinny Steve can still bag, you can too. Keep your head up, kings and queens.
I'm gonna keep my head up because I needed to hear that.
Oh, you know what? I'll say it to you this time. I had the full screen up.
Okay.
If Skinny Steve can, no. You know what? Just watch the video and then just replay that scene.
I got it. I will say though, I kind of really don't like this animation style.
Okay, yes. All right, I was just about to say that. It feels so awkward. The mouth tracking is weird at times.
Yeah.
Then like I don't know what frame rate it is, but it's like it is both smooth and choppy at the same time.
Yeah.
I think the coloring is nice. Like the actual
the colors are pretty nice.
Animation design is pretty cool. Like in the shading, but just the actual animation, and I feel like that's becoming a very common thing in a lot of the animated shows we're talking about. I feel like it's much worse in Invincible, obviously, but
I knew you were gonna take a chance to talk shit about Invincible, but it's fine.
Look, I had to. That's the thing, but yeah, it's a little rough around the edges. Like I said, both choppy and smooth at the same time. Kind of that like rubber bandiness. I don't know exactly how to describe it. I'm not animation specialist, but I would have obviously, as much as it would have been logistically impossible to do this all in live action, would have been fucking dope.
That would have been really, really
but
cool.
That would be much more expensive. So I understand them wanting to do this all animated.
I feel like they were like, you know what? We're Marvel, so we got to do something just really new and different in animation style that you haven't really seen before. And I feel like they were like, we saw it happen with Spider-Verse and everyone really loved it. So we got to give them something new that they haven't seen before. And it's not working for me. It's not working for me. And it's also one of those things that I don't anticipate it growing on me either. Like it's not one of those that I'm like, you know what? Maybe later on in the season, like I'll start to fall. I'm just like, no, I don't. It's just not working for me. Unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely really unfortunate because I was looking forward to this, but yeah, it's not sticking with me, but I think just from a concept, I'm still excited about the series. Obviously, we're exploring these alternate timelines after, ideally it's because they did say that it's all canon technically, right?
Oh, it is? Well, I
think
guess
so.
It should.
It is technically because the multiverse has now opened up, and now these are alternate realities that exist within this multiverse. I know that there's been some talk about Captain Carter technically returning in some way, shape, or form. So we may still get to see buff Haley Atwell. So
that would be awesome.
But I mean, we'll have to see. Again, not too many thoughts of it. It's definitely a shorter series and much less consequential to the MCU at large, but cool experience. So definitely will be exciting to see. Do not take this the wrong way because this is going to be super out of context. I am not looking forward to seeing Chadwick Boseman's last performance in here because that is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why. Not because I don't think it's going to be good. It's because I know I'm pretty sure I'm not going to necessarily fact check this too hard, but this is the last time we will ever get to see him perform in anything. Or this is the last performance that he did.
I think you might be right about that. I don't know if there's
It's definitely his last Marvel performance.
Yes, for sure. I don't know if there's any other posthumous stuff that he filmed that hasn't come out yet, but
right.
As far as I know, I don't think that there was, but
yeah, I don't think so either. But
yeah, that'll be a hard episode to watch.
It will.
Sure.
It will.
But I think that is everything we had for today.
Yeah, no, that pretty much goes for our thoughts. So
Nice.
yeah, again, like I said, not too much to talk about on there. We are still, as usual, every week we talk about the Marvel shows that came out because we're big fucking Marvel nerds, right? So we are still going to talk about it every week, but because they're shorter episodes, they're definitely going to be much shorter talks. But let's go ahead and get into our favorite things that we have seen and listened to. Noah, why don't you go ahead and start us off? Because I got to pull up my my things.
Your things.
Yeah.
You know, this is a very odd week for me because I really do not really as far as music goes, I really don't have anything. I really have nothing. If it weren't for I haven't listened to the Nas album yet. So I guess that's one thing I saw a lot of people were saying it was really great. But besides this new track that came out today from Injury Reserve, which
oh god, that was like that was such a fucking experience. I was driving home when I listened to it, and I literally I started tearing up in the car. As soon as I heard Grog's voice, I was like, fuck. And that's again why I'm not really looking forward to having to hear Chadwick Boseman for the last time, you know? But it sucks so much, and I don't want to cry right now, so we're not going to.
Yeah, I know. I think it was definitely an interesting first single to go with. But I think, and the video.
Oh God. It fucked me up. It fucked me up so bad. Definitely, if you're an Injury Reserve fan, go ahead and give it a listen. I don't know if we told this story. We actually have like an oddly stronger connection to Injury Reserve. We literally would not have this podcast if it wasn't for Injury Reserve, and I'm just gonna come right out and say that. Like, we really wouldn't have it. Because the way that we met was, and it's such a dumb fucking story, but the way that we met was it was my first year at the school, right? And I was like, fuck, I want to go to this Injury Reserve concert. They're fucking dope. I don't know anyone in this town. And they're super underground. So it's not like I can just find someone hey, you like Injury Reserve? You like Injury Reserve? Like Injury Reserve? Like Injury Reserve?
Right.
But, so I went on a fucking anonymous Twitter account that was posting. It was one of those confessional accounts and whatnot. But it was I was just yo, I'm going to the show. If anyone else is going, we can carpool. You know what's up. And then he was one of the only fuckers to respond, and the only one to actually come through on it. So I fucking met this stranger from the internet through a concert. And then, the rest is history. But so definitely we share a much a little bit deeper of a connection to this. So it's very, very emotional for me and for you, I know, as well. So
for sure. Yeah, they will definitely always hold a very, very special place
exactly.
in my heart.
Needle in the lens would not be possible without Injury Reserve. So thank you for your music. Thank you, Grogs, or I guess to the family of Grogs. Thank you for giving us this amazing man who gave us and was a vital part in these works that was able to connect us. So thank you very much. Off of that tangent, though, you can go ahead and go ahead.
Yeah. Well,
hate to put that damper.
I should have done that last.
Yeah, probably, but it is what it is.
Really, really getting emotional out here, but yeah, that's literally really the only thing I have to mention. As far as music, honestly, which is wild. I don't think I've ever had an episode of the podcast where I'm just like, yeah, sorry, that's
two things.
But that's all I got. For that, as far as stuff I watched, obviously loved Suicide Squad. Which was really great. And then let's see, as far as TV goes, I watched the new show that is on Hulu, technically FX on Hulu, Reservation Dogs from
fuck, I wanted to watch that. My girlfriend really started it without me. We're gonna probably end up watching it together. She only watched the first episode, so she
okay
she got some slack. And I guess I never expressed to her that I specifically wanted to watch it. I don't know if we watched that during the after show, the trailer for that, or if that was just during one of my fucking Monday movie trailer reacts streams, which by the way, we're live on Twitch. Twitch.tv/FlipTV Live. Yeah, no, it might have been just during one of my my Monday trailer react streams.
No, yeah, but definitely a show I'd been looking forward to for a while, co-created by Taika Waititi.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just really great, support indigenous art.
100%.
That was really great. So watch those first 2 episodes. I watched the finale of Blind Spotting.
Oh, which, yes.
I like that show. Just still, I liked it. It's just sometimes teetered between like good and cringe. It's a really, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is really working for me. And other times I'm like,
how? I want to know before, because I still haven't managed to get into what it's on. So, what's it on again? Stars, yeah.
So this show kind of does this thing where they incorporate verse into the show. So basically, like rapping or like spoken word is kind of like incorporated into the show, as well as like dancing kind of in a like surrealist sort of way. Sometimes it's really, really beautiful, and other times I'm like, this is not working for me. But I can confidently say there's nothing else on TV like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it just sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. But I think I really still admire this show and what it was trying to do. I don't know how the viewership has been. Its critical success is crazy. It's got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
So like it's like doing really well there, but I don't know that it's had a lot of viewership, so I'm not sure about a season 2, but definitely an interesting show. I still think I prefer the movie more. But if there's a second season, I'll tune in for the second season. But yeah, that's Blind Spotting on Stars. Go watch it, form your own opinion on that. And also newest Ted Lasso episode. Man.
Oh yeah, I need to get into that.
What a great episode of TV that I was not expecting to love as much as I did. I was kind of getting emotional, like tearing up a little bit watching that episode. I was like, man, this is really great. Really, really great. So watch Ted Lasso if you get the chance. Sometimes you just need...
I'm gonna start Ted Lasso this week, I think.
Sometimes you just need wholesome shows. You just need wholesome shows in your life. that just make you smile. Just make you smile. And you're like, man, I feel really good after watching this. You can watch a lot of dark, depressing stuff, and you're like, man, that was really good. But sometimes you need a smile.
I was saying, no one look at my my movie poster wall on my wall. It's like 90% dark shit. Let's see, we got like, I still need to get more movie posters, so I need to get a PO box so y'all can send shit, because I will take movie posters 100%. But I got like Parasite, I got Uncut Gems, which isn't like dark per se, but like obviously it's like it's gritty. Dark. It's gritty,
right?
And then I have Hereditary, which obviously. And Sorry to Bother You, which again, not necessarily dark, but like, you know, it's dark themes. It's off the wall. And then there's Detective Pikachu. So, you know, hey.
Yeah, you completely just threw a wrench in it there.
Okay, to be fair, it was free, that poster. So, yeah.
Also, shout out the new Vince Staples track for the Pokemon 25th anniversary.
No! How did I not know about this? Oh my God, I am the fakest Vince Staples and Pokemon fan ever. How did I not fucking know? And how did you not tell me about that? You know, I'm not gonna get mad at you. I'm guessing you assumed that I knew.
I mean, I just didn't really even. I was just like, oh wow, wake up, babe. New Vince Staples track for the Pokemon 25th
Where is
anniversary
it?
just dropped.
I'm on Vince Staples' shit. Where is it? I guess I gotta go see Discogs singles. Is it on it's on an actual project, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah. Let me.
Got him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Vinyl time. Right. Let's go. Bro, look at this fucking. I don't want to accidentally play it, but look at this fucking Pikachu tail. It's called the Red EP. Like, come on, that's just gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. This track was all right.
I mean, it's like, fucking, it's a fucking marketing song. Like, they're never that great unless the fucking artist puts their whole heart into it.
Right. It's a little weird to hear Vince Staples rap about drive-bys and then just talk about Pokemon. Like, it is a little. It's a little jarring.
That's so funny. That's so fucking funny. Oh my God, I need to hear it now.
It's a decent track. It's fine.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, but what about you? What are you loving this week?
Damn, I just had my shit up. I'm gonna start with movies because obviously that's what I've been. I was gonna say doing a lot of, but I only saw 2 technically. So Suicide Squad, very much enjoyed. Again, do want to go back and see if I love it more because I feel like I will. The Green Knight, just watched this past weekend. Very good. Really weird. And I love A24 doing weird shit.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like this is definitely, like, a lot of people who have kind of been A24 fans or Gateway A24 fans, you know? Like, they got into, like, I feel like this is still even less accessible than Hereditary is.
Oh, definitely.
And definitely less accessible than Midsommar. I feel like Midsommar is more accessible than Hereditary is. That's definitely Ari Aster's more crowd popular or like crowd accessible film.
Yeah.
As much as it was fucking off the walls too.
Right.
But definitely love A24 doing this weirdo shit. And loved your review on Letterboxd on it, by the way. That was funny. It was a good one. That scene itself, I'm not gonna spoil it. Y'all can fucking follow him on Letterboxd, which at No Dabs or some shit, right?
At No Dabs.
There you go. That fucking scene in particular, I was like, huh? And definitely the film is a little confusing. It's definitely confusing, but I do think that just the way it was crafted was also fantastic.
Yeah. It's definitely a little confusing. I feel like there's a lot of symbolism and like open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Which is like, I definitely want to watch it a second time at some point because there's probably a lot that I missed. But
oh no, definitely. I will say, I think the screening we went to, I think the projector was a little fucked up. My girlfriend pointed it out to me that like the light, like I guess it's RGB lighting that they used to make colors. I don't know exactly how, or I guess they use LED. I don't fucking know how projectors work, okay? But like,
They put it on there.
yeah, she pointed out, I couldn't really notice it, but we'll get into why I think she was right after. But she pointed out that like you could see like little lines of like the other colors that make up the colors, you know, like offset from it.
Yeah.
We both came out of the theater with a massive fucking headache.
Wow.
So I do think that probably was the case, that I just didn't notice it though.
Probably.
But yeah, no, we both came out with a fucking insane headaches. So definitely less than an ideal experience. Do want to watch it again at home to see. But yeah, no, loving the weirdo shit. A24, keep it up. And I'm excited for Lamb too. That
Lamb looks
more weirdo shit I want to see.
Even weirder.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
it looks so much weirder, which is why I'm like, I even tweeted this when I first saw the trailer. I was like, I love seeing A24 do this weirdo shit, because I feel like A24 was kind of starting to get the reputation that they were like being a more accessible film bro studio,
right.
or like film bro and film
Mhm.
gal. I don't even know what you would say there, but
I don't even know.
I feel like now they're leaning more into like, no, we're still fucking weird.
It's nice to see them. They're like, you know what? We're going to go do a movie with Travis Scott, but we're still going to put out Lamb, and we're still going to put out The Green Knight.
Exactly.
Like, we are
So
really capable of doing both. So
get you a girl that can do both.
although they did just announce that they're doing a Steph Curry documentary with Ryan Coogler. I was
Okay.
like,
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, no.
Interesting.
But and the last movie I watched, I finally was able to rewatch Boss Baby in English. I like it better in Spanish. I'm not even gonna lie. It was just better in Spanish, even though I definitely understood more stuff now. I just felt it was better in Spanish. So take that what you will. I found out it's on Peacock, so I mean, hey, if you want to watch it on there, maybe you can put the Spanish on. Music wise, again, not super eventful. I don't even remember where I left off last week. All I know is like I think I went back to my you know what it was? Cause on Thursday we were driving back and whatnot. So I was like, okay, new music hasn't come out yet. Let me hit my catch up playlist at least for a bit. And this wasn't Donda supposed to come out this fucking week. Whatever, right? Yeah. But definitely really dig this. It's this album from February from A.G. Radico. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. It's called Transit. Really dug it. I thought it was a nice little vibe and whatnot. Hate that I'm using vibe. But of music that came out this week. King's Disease 2 actually I did enjoy quite a bit. Honestly, more than the first one.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a much better one. And I mean, I think Hit Boy does a pretty good job on the production on this one.
Oh, Hit Boy's on this one again.
Yeah, this one again. That's
nice.
why it's the sequel. I did not expect myself to like this one that much, but Alison Ponthier, I hope I'm saying that correct. Her album Faking My Own Death, I actually really enjoyed it. She has a really nice voice. I think it's kind of like folky. I don't really even know what box to put her in, but
got you.
You know, it was dope. And that was really all as far as albums I really enjoyed. The Tanashi one was okay. I enjoyed a decent bit. Let me go to my playlist and see what singles I was actually digging, because I know there were definitely a few of those that I got into. Unfortunately, not Pikachu Drive-By. Vince Staples over here would have loved to have heard that, but the new Weekend track was pretty nice.
Oh yeah, it was all right. I wanted to like it more than I did. There's an extended version I want to hear.
Oh yeah.
There were parts of it I really loved and parts of it I was like, this is all right.
Yeah, no. And the Victoria Monet track was pretty cool too. Aside from that, I actually didn't finish my playlist, so I'm a little disappointed in myself. There's a couple of tracks that I want to hear. New Zakaria, Isaiah Rashad, and Buddy track. I do want to hear that.
Oh, I do need to hear that.
This new John Vinyl track. I'm always excited to hear stuff from him because he's a nice little just chill ass R&B guy. So, you know, hey, exciting, but hopefully I can finish that playlist before the new drops this week, so I won't be behind. Oh, and also new Benny the Butcher track, which I'm surprised wasn't the first fucking thing that I listened to. Silly me. Silly me.
How did I miss this?
Yeah, Benny, G Herbo, and Rick Hyde. So yeah, look at that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. A little underwhelming release week, but definitely glad I got to get into some more movies. I am going to try to do Ted Lasso this week. Y'all can hold me to that if I say that I love Ted Lasso next week. We'll see.
Or you might hate it.
Or I might hate it. Yeah, I could fucking hate it. I could be like, this is stupid. This is fucking dumb. I hate it. Ugh. But I have a feeling, I've heard a lot of great things about it. I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy it. So we'll see. But that's going to be it. We're not running out of time, obviously, but like we're definitely, our recap ran a little bit longer, but
yeah,
you know the deal. What do I usually say first? I guess I usually say Spotify.
I was waiting for what you were going to say.
If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast listening platform, we do have a video podcast of this on YouTube. If you look up Neo Lens Podcast, if you want to see our faces, see this new camera thing that I neglected to use for the most part, but I tried to incorporate as much as possible. It's hard when you're trying to do everything, right? But there was that. If you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us on the go and just listen to us, don't see our dumb little faces, you could look us up. We are on all of those Spotify or all of those podcast listening platforms that I mentioned earlier. And on top of that, the links will be in the description for those. And if you're a part of either of those groups and you want to be a part of the conversation, even though we didn't take a break today because we ran really short, we are live on Twitch, like I mentioned earlier, twitch.tv/FlipTV live every Wednesday evening at 6:30, sometimes Central, 4:30 Pacific, and 7:30 Eastern. Sometimes that changes because we have technical difficulties, but we're trying to get better at it. I'm gonna make sure Noah's here on time next week so we can get started.
Wow.
I know. That was my fault. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a meme. But yeah, that's gonna be it. See you all next week.
See ya.